What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into our NFL show of the week number 9. We are officially over halfway into the NFL season. It's sad, but it's here, and we are finally getting ready and getting rolling. Bryson Owens is here with me. Anthony Hirsch is here with me, and we got a great show for you guys covering about the 5 best games and any other hot news in the NFL that you guys may have missed. Let's jump on in here, gentlemen. We got a freaking bright and early one, 7:30 a.m. I'll be up watching this one. If you guys, if you care about yourself, you probably won't be up watching this one. But if you're like me and you live for NFL Sunday, you're going to be up watching. So we got to cover this game for you. It also might just be the game of the week, so do not miss it. The Miami Dolphins on the road in Germany. They are 2-point dogs. Kansas City Chiefs, they are 2-point favorites. Over under 51 points in this game. It is the very first game in Germany of the year. Bryson, who are you looking at here? A lot of people saying the Dolphins are barking.
I'm with them. I'm taking the Dolphins in this one. I think the Broncos last week kind of unlocked the formula of beating the Chiefs, and that is run the football and take as many possessions away from Patrick Mahomes as you can. And the Dolphins are about as good a team as any in the NFL to run that type of formula because they're the number 1 rushing team in football. It doesn't matter which running back it is. Right now, it's mostly Raheem Mostert, but when A-Chain, the rookie, was in, whether it's Jeff Wilson when he gets touches, it doesn't matter. All these running backs are excellent in this offense. And Tua it's run the football, make easy throws. And Tua makes easy throws look even easier with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle. The whole offense scheme by McDaniel is just excellent. It's built to go against this Chiefs defense. The pass rush for the Chiefs is excellent. It's a great secondary. But you can run the ball on the Chiefs, and the Broncos did it last week. They're 19th in the NFL in rush defense. So if you can run the football, slow down those pass rushers, and really just eat possessions away from Patrick Mahomes, that's how you beat these Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the Dolphins are about as good a team as any in the NFL to run that type of formula and beat this team. So I really like the Dolphins as underdogs in this one. I think they're built to beat Kansas City, even if it's a shootout. I think they can win that fashion too. So I like the Dolphins heading into this one.
See, I'm agreeing with every single thing you're saying. And so, Anthony, I want to ask you, man, why? Why are they 2-point favorites? Because so far, we all right now, if you were to ask us right now to all make a ranking list, we probably would put the Dolphins in the top 5. And there's a good chance that we wouldn't put Kansas City in the top 5. And they're coming off a loss over what many people put as a bottom 5 football team in the NFL with the Denver Broncos. Why are they 2-point favorites? There's got to be something here.
The only reason, I can really think of is historically Andy Reid with this Chiefs team bounced back very good after losses. But I feel like there's a couple of things about this game that aren't, they're not a normal NFL game. First of all, we have to account for the fact they have to fly 20 hours across the pond to get over there to Germany. And for Patrick Mahomes, he's coming off a flu game. It was obvious. You're looking at him over at the bench. Dude looked terrible. Last thing I would want to do is get on a 20-hour plane ride to get over there to Germany. I feel like not enough people are talking about that. Honestly, it just seems like the wrong team's favored here. I'm looking at, all this stuff for the Chiefs. I feel like a ton of issues got exacerbated last week. First of all, their wide receiver room is terrible. They can't get the ball to anyone outside of Kelsey. And now teams are trying to figure out, even if you have to put 3 guys to cover Kelsey, there's not a whole lot of other guys in the passing game that Mahomes can go to. And that's just the current reality for this Chiefs team. They have a lot of answers to question offensively, like Bryson is saying, defensively as well. With probably one of the most versatile offenses in the league, I think McDaniels has a really good game plan in place here for this game. I feel like the Dolphins might win this one even by a touchdown.
Wow, even by a touchdown. Look, man, I want to be like the guy that walks up in here and tells you guys, no, this is why he's favored. And I'm not that guy. I don't know. I can't figure it out either. I'm looking at the plus money here. And to me, whichever team's plus money in this game, I'm taking them. And that's all it is. I wouldn't care if it was in Miami, Kansas City, or in freaking Germany. If you're going to give me plus money in this game on either side, the Chiefs, they're a good football team. They are not the best football team in the NFL. They're not the consistent powerhouse. Bryson mentioned the blueprint that the Broncos kind of gave out there. Like, hey, here's how you beat these guys. If we can do it, Mike McDaniel should be able to sit down, watch that film, and go, well, here's how we're going to beat them. Hey, look, man, you put Mike McDaniel on a 20-hour flight, I don't want to know what this dude's making up in his mind, but
man.
he a little cuckoo, but he's thinking of something. I'll bet you they're going to pull out something here and get this win. So I'm with you guys, man. Bright and early, 7:30 in the morning. Why not go for a dog at plus 115 and try your luck? Now, over under 51 in this game. This is where it gets interesting. I feel like these overseas games, you guys mentioned it. It's a long flight. Mahomes coming off of sickness. 51 points, right? If this was in Kansas City or Miami, that might be a pretty fair number. But on the road, Bryson, do you think 51 points is a little too high, seeing all the circumstances here?
I think it's a right number. I mean, these are two of the best offenses in the NFL. The Chiefs' offense is scoring 23 points a game. The Dolphins' offense is putting up 34 points a game. So this is two of the best offenses in the NFL. So I understand why the number is that high. I'm going to take the under. I think it's going to be a slow start to the game. These overseas games, they're pretty low scoring in the first half anyway. And the formula I mentioned, run the football, take possessions away from Mahomes. Now, the key to this is the Dolphins can turn a run play into a 90-yard touchdown in a blink of an eye. Like they can take these run plays and turn them into 6 points pretty easily. But I think they're going to want to eat possession, eat clock. I think it's going to be a slower game than people think. The Chiefs' defense is second in the NFL in points per game. They're only giving up 16 points per game. So I think you're going to see the defense for the Chiefs step up, specifically in the red zone. They're a pretty good red zone defense. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think. A lot of running, slower start to the game. I'm going to take the under 51. It's a pretty high number for me for this overseas game.
Anthony, he nailed it for me. I'm with Bryson.
No, I'm right there with you, Bryson. I mean, especially after all the talk, we're like, okay, we're getting two of the top slingers in the league. It's going to be a great head-to-head matchup. I feel like that narrative is getting pushed just a little too much. And I think the Chiefs have sneakily had a very good defense. I think their secondary doesn't get talked enough about. I feel like they might be one of the few teams in the NFL that could have a plan for Tyreek that may or may not work. We'll see about that. But, you know, just taking a look also on the Dolphins, you know, taking a look at their secondary, they get Jalen Ramsey back from now his second game. He looked really good last week. I think he continues that over this week. I have to take the under here, and I'm taking it pretty confidently.
I'm right there with you guys. I'm going under as well. And I will say something tells me this is going to close closer to 52. And at 52, I really like this under in this game. I don't know what it is, man, but the public loves their overs in a Patrick Mahomes Tua game. It just makes too much sense here. So we're all going to go with the under, and then we're all going to go with the Miami Dolphins to pull the upset. So good luck to you guys on Sunday morning. Now, we're not going to talk about a game like this and not give you our favorite touchdown scorers because that would just be criminal. So, Anthony, if you want to go first, man, one guy on the board. Who do you like?
Man, this is tough. You know, I'm seeing all these minus numbers in here. I'm like, if I'm picking touchdown scores, I like to get my money's worth. But just looking at some of these guys on the board, like you're going to tell me you see a world that Tyreek doesn't get a touchdown against his former team? Come on now. I love Tyreek. He's by far my favorite. Like I said, they have a game plan for him. I don't think it's going to work. This dude can't be stopped by any defender in the NFL. Heck, he's going to be out there somewhere. I'm going to throw this thing deep. I love Tyreek to score.
Oof, Tyreek Hill minus 125. You guys want to ride with that? By the way, make sure you do your homework on touchdown scores if you guys have multiple sports books, because I guarantee you can probably find him damn near plus money somewhere. You know, the show's not paid for by DraftKings, so we're not going to sit here and tell you to bet on DraftKings. So do your homework and go find a better line. Bryson, what you looking at, man?
I'm looking at Raheem Mostert. He leads this team pretty handedly in touchdowns with 12 on the year. He has 10 rushing touchdowns. And I just mentioned the Dolphins' formula to beat the Chiefs. Run the football. I think they're going to really put the ball in Mostert's hands a lot. At better odds than Tyreek Hill, I like Raheem Mostert to score.
Well, Bryson, you stole my guy, Raheem Mostert, all day long, dude. I don't see how this guy does not get into the end zone. Every week we see him get in the end zone, and he probably should get in 2 or 3 different times on multiple occasions. So if I got to change something, though, I will go for the plus money, and I will go with Jalen Waddle here at the plus 150 number, just because I agree with the Tyreek Hill thing. But if I'm Kansas City, that's the one guy I don't want to let get into the end zone, because I know he's going to do something that's going to make me feel stupid. He's going to do a backflip on me, and I'm not doing that in Germany. You're not backflipping on me in Germany. It's not happening. So, Anthony, though, I do think, man, between the Tyreek Hill play and the Jalen Waddle play, And the Raheem Mostert play, I feel very good that we're going to hit at least 2 out of 3 of those plays in this game, especially if we're going to get our Miami's Dolphins money line upset to cash. So good luck to everybody in that game. Jumping on over to an 11 a.m. game. That is the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens in action. Let me tell you, I know everybody's calling the Chiefs game the game of the week. I think this one right here might just be the game of the week. You got Seattle coming in 6-point dogs on the road in Baltimore. Ravens getting -6 here at home. Over under 44 points in this game. Anthony, I know the Ravens are now the number 2 power ranked team. Is this too many? Because even though I think they're a good football team, I think 6 points feels very heavy here.
Look, odds makers, honestly, the public too, everyone is sleeping on Seattle. They're acting like, yes, they have a good record, but we all know they're not going to be there at the end. Sneakily, probably a top 10, maybe even better football team. I mean, Geno Smith, dude looks like such a leader back there. He might not be putting together some of the most impressive statistical games, but you can tell he is a leader. He's a dog. This team is looking really scary. And now they get Leonard Williams from the Giants, probably one of the best interior D-line guys in the league. He's going to be playing on Sunday. You better believe. Pete Carroll says, you better be playing on Sunday. 6 points, that's way too much. I mean, I don't really know why it's at 6. The Ravens honestly didn't look great last week against Arizona. I thought Lamar struggled. They really struggled to throw the football. And now Gus Edwards is day-to-day. He didn't practice today. I'm still looking for him to get that full practice in before Sunday. I have to lay my money here with the Seahawks.
Don't blame you at all, man, but I will throw out there, Bryson, right now we got 70% of the money coming in on Seattle. Now, only 45% of the bets. So, at least it's not the public's money, but 70% of the money here is on the on the Seahawks to cover in this game. What is it about the Ravens that makes them such a big favorite? Because I just feel like 5 weeks ago, they would have never been 6-point favorites, maybe 3, maybe 3.5, but 6 is just so big in a 44-point game.
My only real reasoning behind that is Lamar Jackson. He is playing at a high level. I know he didn't play particularly great last week, but he is playing very well this season, both through the air and on the ground. He's playing normal Lamar Jackson, high-level football. But it's that defense. They are number 1 in the NFL in points. They only give up 15 points per game. They're number 3 against the pass and number 6 overall in terms of yardage. So the defense itself is very good. I do think 6 points is too high. I'm not confident enough to take the Seahawks on the money line, but I like them to cover 6 points for a couple reasons. One, I mentioned the defense for the Ravens is very good, but their run defense is the one weak link. That's their worst part of the defense, and Seattle with Kenneth Walker is going to want to run the football. So I like that trend. And the other one for the Seattle defense, you just mentioned, Anthony, they're getting Leonard Williams, one of the better defensive linemen in the NFL, to a defense that's already top 10 in pressure percentage, and they're 5th in the NFL in sacks. And if the one thing you can do to beat this Ravens offense, stop the run, well, Seahawks are 8th in the NFL in run defense, and then pressure Lamar. And with Ronnie Stanley questionable for this game with an injury, the offensive line, which is very good, might be a little banged up. And if you can pressure Lamar and stop that run, the Seahawks are set up pretty well to make this a close game.
I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight to the Seahawks here with you guys. Seahawks +6. I don't see a world that I would ever lay Baltimore to win by a touchdown. I'm just not there yet. I like the Ravens. I think they win the football game, but I just think 6 points is too many points in this game. I hope for my Pittsburgh Steelers that the Ravens just completely lose this game and get upset. And I will say, I do think this is a dog barking kind of game. If you're looking for a big payout at +200 or better, this could be right where you want to look. But for now, for me, I'm cool with 6 points. God forbid it falls to 7 points. That would be a major mistake by the sports books. I don't think that will happen. So good luck to you guys there. Now, I'm going to jump straight into my over-under bet, and I'm going with the under 44 points in this game. A lot of other places, it's 44.5 right now, and that's the number that I'm banking on. I have this game finishing 44 to 40, Jesus. 24 to 20. I'm going Baltimore to get it done, but they only get it done by 4 points in this game. So I'm going to go under the 44.5 if you can find that number and the +6 points here. Anthony, 44 points. Which side, John?
I honestly wouldn't be looking at the over unless it got down to maybe even like 40.5. I think this is going to go under, and I think it's going to go under in a big way. I think Bryson brought up a great point. Stanley might not play this game, and Moses for the offensive line, 2 starting offensive linemen for Baltimore. I think they're going to really struggle. And looking at Seattle's defense, in the second half, past 4 games, only let up 9 points, no touchdowns. It's going to be a struggle for both sides to score the football. I'm looking at this 44 number, it almost feels like a trap because I really see the true over-under of this game being around that 41, maybe even 40.5 number.
Wow, 41, 40.5. Bryson, are you with him there, man? Are you going to shock us here and go with the over?
No, I'm with you guys on the under here for a couple reasons. One, in 6 of the Baltimore Ravens' 8 games, the under 44 would have hit. In half of the Seahawks game, the under 44 would have hit. So both teams trend towards a lower scoring game anyway, and these are 2 of the best defenses in the NFL when it comes to points per game. I mentioned Baltimore's first in the NFL. Seattle's 11th at 19 points per game, so both teams really lean heavily on unders for the season. So I like the under 44 here too.
There you go, guys. We are kind of boring, but we keep agreeing with each other. And as much as that might be boring to you, it also tells you something. So go ahead and take your picks here, but we're going Seahawks and we're going under. Best of luck there. Jumping over 2:25 p.m. Man, what did we do to deserve all these good-ass football games this week? We got the Cowboys and the Eagles going down here at the midday game. Cowboys, by the way, game of the week according to the NFL. Cowboys plus 3 points on the road, plus 136 on the money line. Philly, -3, -162. Man, this is a tough game to read, right? I feel like a lot of people are saying the Cowboys, they're better than they seem, and no, Dak's going to have okay. Whatever, we're done hearing that. But more importantly, it's the other side for me. It's the Eagles. There's a lot of people that are bought in. They say that this is the best football team in the NFL, and it's not even close. And there's other people that are like, yo, they're frauds. They're going to get exposed. Jalen Hurts' knee's a little bit banged up. They're not going to be the same team. They better stop doing the tush push. That's why Jalen's getting hurt. There's all these little things coming out about the Eagles. We saw Jalen Hurts sitting up on the podium the other day. They said, how's that knee? He said, thanks, guys. I'm out. He don't want to talk about it. So that might be a problem. Now, he also might be completely fine, and this is just a tactic, a decoy, whatever it might be. But Bryson, 3-point favorites in their own house on Sunday. Do you think the Cowboys plus the 3 or even the Cowboys on the money line at 136 is the way to go?
I'm not going to take the Cowboys on the money line because I do think Philadelphia wins this game. I think Philadelphia on the spread is what I would do as well. Dallas has a decent chance of covering it, but overall, I do think Philadelphia is the more talented team. And I do think the knee is the thing for Jalen Hurts. And one thing about it, why I think it's a real issue, is a lot of people pointed out last week, Jalen Hurts had 2 designed quarterback run plays. That's way less than he's used to having. He is known for having those zone reads, making the decision himself, keeping it, and picking up a handful of yards with his legs. They didn't do that last week. I think they're protecting him a little bit. But one thing I find very encouraging about Jalen Hurts is over his career, a lot of people just kept saying, I want to see him win games with his legs or with his arm. A lot of people, that's the classic thing with quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, who are these dual threats who get the job done on the ground and their legs. They want to see them win games with their arm. Well, Jalen Hurts is doing that. He's one of the best passing quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I think it's going to continue this week. The Eagles on defense is built to stop this Cowboys offense. They are number 1 in the NFL against the run. They only give up 66 yards per game against the run. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott to win the game for the Cowboys. Even against this Eagles secondary, which is struggling a little bit, I don't think Dak Prescott's good enough against that pass rush to get the job done. The Eagles are top 10 in pretty much every offensive category. They're number 3 in points, 7 in passing yards, 7 in rushing yards. They're one of the more well-balanced offenses in the NFL. So I like, especially in Philadelphia, that's a big thing here too. If it was in Dallas, it'd be one thing. But in Philadelphia for this one, I like the Eagles to cover the spread for this game.
I don't blame you at all here, but I will say I think a lot of people are exactly where you are. They completely agree with every single thing you're saying. I know there is a lot of public right now actually on the Cowboys, which is beautiful because I'm not on the Cowboys either here. I'm going Eagles too. But I will say, I think you're more confident than I am about this play here. I'm a little bit worried about this game. I've been fading the Cowboys all year. I'm not high on them at all. I think they are a borderline top 10 team. I know they're like number 7 in the rankings. I put them at like 9 or 10, maybe if they're lucky. If I'm feeling nice to Dak Prescott on a good day, I just don't think that the Cowboys are that good of a football team. Tony Pollard, he's a good back, but without Zeke, we're really kind of seeing him struggling there. In Dallas, it kind of reminds me of like the Alexander Madison thing in Minnesota. Like, we expected you to be really good, but you're okay, but you're not quite getting it done. And then throwing the football, I don't trust Dak Prescott, but I will say, when Dak is on, Dak looks really good. I don't think this is a game where he gets on because it's a tough defense to go up against. So either way, I'm with you here. I'm going Philly on the money line. I'm going Philly minus the 3 points as well.
Does it help?
I would not lay anything more than 3.
One other thing I forgot to mention, one thing about the Cowboys, which I find fascinating, despite having Micah Parsons, who's one of the best players in the NFL, they are only about league average in terms of pressure percentage and sacks. They're like literally league average, like 16th in both those categories. And the Eagles have the number 1 offense in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus. So that also helps. You don't need Jalen Hurts to run a lot if he's not getting pressured a lot. And he's already throwing the ball so well. So I like that trend going for the Eagles as well.
Anthony, are you with us, man? Are you going to come up in here and shock the world?
First of all, I could do it. I have to disagree with you about Pollard. I think that since they got rid of Zeke, this has been a much better running football team. It felt like kind of before it was a liability, and they felt due to the money they were paying Zeke, they had to be the third down back. He was fumbling the ball all the time. He just looked awful last year. I feel like the running game looks really good under Pollard. But I am so sick of these Cowboys fans going out there and being dog spot of the year, dog spot of the year. Like, shut up. It's not. It's just not. Eagles have covered 8 of 9 games against the Cowboys. It seems like people forget that Jalen Hurts, Sirianni, they do fantastic against the Cowboys. Ever since they got there, they own these guys. I just don't really see why people are thinking this is going to be even a close game. I'm taking Eagles with the numbers, going with 3 on the spread. Their offense has been dominant. A.J. Brown has been dominant. One of the most dominant stretches for a wide receiver. As much hype and as much attention this Cowboys defense gets, I don't think they can stop them. I think the Niners game gave a great blueprint on how to stop Micah Parsons. We didn't call his name out once that game. He didn't do a thing. Nope. So now that you have that blueprint, it's one of the best offensive lines in the league. I just don't see them really giving them too many problems on defense. I see the Eagles winning here, and I see them doing it convincingly.
Well, guys, I don't know what we got to do to disagree on a game, but we got one more game here to find out if someone's going to go the other way. And I think in the final game of the night, Sunday Night Football, somebody might be disagreeing with each other. But Eagles all day long. No way we go anywhere else. The big question in this game, and a tough number here, I think they nailed it, is 47 points on this over-under. Bryson, we're talking about how good these run games are. We all trust Swift. We all trust Hurts. Anthony trusts Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard. I just don't think he's quite where I was expecting him to be personally, but I think Anthony made some fair points there. So a lot of running going to happen in this game, but we also got 2 quarterbacks that can sling it when they want to. What do you do with a 47-point game?
I'm going to take the over in this game, and a lot of it is on the Eagles offense. This Eagles offense is firing on all cylinders. They're number 3 in the NFL in points, like I mentioned. They can score on the ground. They can score in the air. A.J. Brown, like Anthony mentioned, is having one of the most dominant stretches in NFL history for a wide receiver. It seems like all Jalen Hurts has to do around the red zone is just throw it up, and A.J. Brown's going to come down with it. Whether he's double-teamed, one-handed in the corner, it doesn't matter. A.J.'s coming down with the football. And the Cowboys, they put up points. They're good. They're number 2 in the NFL in scoring. They put up 28 points a game. So if the Cowboys can get going a little bit against a mediocre secondary for the Eagles, it could be a shootout, and you can see a higher scoring game. I think this game is going to be higher scoring than the Dolphins-Chiefs game.
Wow. Okay, Anthony, is that a hot take? Or are you with him there?
No, it is a hot take. I'm going to take the under here. I just don't have enough faith in Dak. Like, that is what this boils down to for me. I wish I did. I just saw, in his game film this year, anytime this guy gets pressured, if he gets 3 to 4 seconds back there, he just, I don't really know what happens. If his first read isn't there, he kind of just melts down, takes a lot of sacks. There was a ton of bad balls out there. And I think they're going to be under constant duress tonight. I know it's a very good offensive line headed by Zach Martin. I don't need to say anything about Zach Martin, best offensive lineman for years now. But that's one side of the O-line. There's just too much talent defensively here for the Eagles for me. I think it's going to be really hard for Dak and the Cowboys to get into the end zone here tonight. Got to take the under.
Well, there you go, guys. Go ahead and ride with those guys if you want to ride with them. We are jumping over to Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a banger. We gave you guys 4 bangers. So let's have some fun here. Buffalo Bills, 2-point dogs in the, I don't want to call it a redemption game or revenge game. I'll call it the rematch between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Buffalo, 2-point dogs on the road, plus 110 on the money line. Bengals, -2, -130. A year ago, for this football game, it was Bills minus about 4 points in this game. So now the script has kind of flipped here. Bengals, I can't lie to you guys, I'm a little bit surprised by this line here. I know some people higher on the Bills than others, but I am somebody who's not high on Cincinnati right now. But a lot of people are like, they're back. Joey B's back. They're at home. Prime time. He's not losing this game. Anthony, do you think they deserve to be 2-point favorites in the spot?
They don't deserve it, no. And you can't make the argument that they do deserve it. I just feel, with what they've, amassed so far, I still need to see a little bit more. They're just getting past that 500 mark. Yes, they are getting back to where they need to be. But for a team with that much expectation going into a season, I need to see them look like Super Bowl contenders before I can say, okay, they have proven themselves. They are back. I don't think that it deserve that -2, but still, it's going to be a close game. I mean, kind of two teams trending in two different directions here. The Bills, yes, they sort of kind of figured it out last week against Tampa. I still personally think they underperformed that game. It looks like they're trying to, get more guys involved in this offense, so it's not just Diggs and Allen, running around there for 20 seconds trying to make the best play you've ever seen. The Allen injury does concern me a little bit, but man, I do feel this to be a pick'em game, honestly. I don't think the Bengals should be favored, but I think it's a pick'em.
And are you going Bengals to win, though?
Man, this is a tough one. Honestly, I was looking at everything beforehand. I wanted to pick the Bengals bad, and then I looked at the line. I just feel you're going to give me plus money with the Bills at this point in the season. I'm going to ride with the Bills here.
Bryson, are you on the Buffalo Bills here in the plus money, man?
No, I'm one of the people who think that the Bengals are back. They've played very good football 3 of the last 4 weeks. They're 3-1 in the last. Hey, we finally did it. I can't bet against Joe Burrow. He's my guy. The Bills, on the other hand, have not looked like a good football team the last 4 weeks. They're 2-2 in the last 4 games, and they have not played great football. They almost let the Buccaneers come back in that. If Chris Godwin turned around quicker and got his eyes on that football, that's a touchdown for the Buccaneers, and the Bills walk out of there with a loss. They lost to the Patriots, who might be one of the worst teams in the NFL, barely beat the Giants with Tyrod Taylor, and lost to the Jaguars before that. And that was a Jaguars team that was not playing very good football at the time. So this Bills team, it's kind of a mess. Josh Allen not playing his best football right now. He's a turnover machine the last few weeks. And this Bengals defense, the numbers don't make it sound like they're a very good defense. They're pretty below average in a lot of yard categories. But if you give the Bengals turnovers, which that defense, they call it a playmaking defense, where if they get their hands on the football, they cause fumbles, they get picks. It's a good defense when it comes to the turnover margin. And with Josh Allen turning the football over as much as he is right now, giving Joe Burrow extra possessions right now, he's on fire lately. He's playing his best football. Back-to-back impressive wins over the Seahawks and the Niners. I think the Bengals are riding a hot streak. No one can stop Jamar Chase. We talked about A.J. Brown having a dominant streak. Jamar Chase, always open, 7-11, like they said. He's one of the best receivers in football. No one can stop him. I think this is a spot where the Bengals, at that line, I know it's not great, but I like the Bengals to win this game.
Man, you make a lot of really good points, Bryson. You're making me second guess my pick here, but it's not going to be enough for me. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills here on the money line to pull the upset. Forget the 2 points. Who the hell wants 2 points in a game like this? I want plus money. That's what I want. If the Bengals were plus 110, I would probably look that way. But I just feel like the plus 110 here. Josh Allen, you're going to give Josh Allen plus money on Sunday Night Football? This boy's pissed, and I don't blame him. I'd be pissed off too. My problem is I don't like Stephon Diggs. I do think that Allen is not getting the ball to enough targets. I don't know if this defense is as good as they are supposed to be. There is a lot of question marks on the Buffalo Bills, but this is the game I think we find out which of these teams is the real deal and which of them is just not going to be there come the end of the postseason. So I'm going Buffalo Bills here, plus the 110. And a big part of that is where the money is on this game. 77% of the bets, 75% of the money is on the Bengals to cover the 2 points here. So for that reason, I'm happy going with 23% of the other people and going with now they are on +2. I'm going straight money line with Anthony. But at the same time, I just think the value's too good, guys. There's no way that I can go against that here. Now, I do got to ask you, over under 49.5. You just mentioned you think the Eagles game, Bryson, might be the highest scoring game of the day. Could this one trump it?
This one has a good chance to. I mean, you got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow on Sunday Night Football. These guys are going to put on a show. These defenses, they're okay when it comes to the points. The Bills are pretty good, but they have been giving up more points as of late. This Bengals defense, it's about league average when it comes to points per game. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I would take the over in this one. I think it's going to be a shootout between Joe Burrow and Josh Allen in this game. So I know 49.5 is a lot, but I would take the over in this one.
49.5 is a lot of points, man. I'm struggling to go over in this game just because I do think that there's going to be too many moments where we're like, oh, Joe, oh, Josh, what are we doing? Throw the football. I do see this being kind of a frustrating football game, but it's also two offenses that can strike with one ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And this could turn into a shootout before we know it. And that's the only fear I have here. Last year when these guys played, the Bengals scored a touchdown in like the first minute on the very first drive, and it was just straight down the field, and it was like, oh, Josh Allen's turn, and then boom, it got bad. But just for fun, I'm going to go against you here. And also because 91% of the money is on the over here. Give me the 9% of all the other money, and I'll go with the under 49 points. Anthony, which way you leaning?
I was about to talk my talk about the over, then you're saying that. Crap. You know what? Fuck, I'm just going to say it. I just don't see how do the Bills win this game in the under hits? Their defense just isn't good enough for it. They're just not. I think
Joe Burrow shits the bed.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen. Like, it's just too bad of a defense. I want to say it's a better defense, and the Bills, at times this season, it has looked like a better defense, but like Bryson's saying, these past couple of games, when you let Baker Mayfield walk all over you, that's a tough look for a defense. I do think that this one comes down to Josh Allen. It's one of those games where this entire group is playing under more desperate, they need this game. They really do. Since they're on a hot streak, they're feeling pretty good. I feel like they're very confident going into this game. Whereas the Bills are playing out of desperation. They need this game, or else, in my opinion, season is in jeopardy. So they need this one. Josh Allen, he's one of those guys for these big Sunday night primetime games. He brings his best game. He's going to be bringing it on Sunday night. You better believe it.
There you go, guys. Best of luck to all of you on Sunday NFL week number 9. Give these guys a follow. Anthony Hirsch at Anthony Hirsch 23, Bryson Owens at Bryson Owens 16, myself at Riggs Picks. Make sure if you guys are looking for somewhere to watch the games, head on down to Jackson's Loto, 1520 20th Street there in Denver, Colorado. And until then, check out sportsforumdenver.com. We're going to have some articles up there for you. Good luck to you.